So here's my strategy. I am in Lancet ID. I hit the Twitter bird, which now is going to create the link to the abstract.
Right.
The whole article is behind a firewall, but it goes to the abstract. And then my tweet will start out, #surgeons, okay, because surgeons look at that.
So that's your shout
Okay,
out.
so
that's
now
your
that's
call.
like the big umbrella. And then I tweet a compelling topic that would engage them to look at this tweet. So that's the art of the tweet. So I sit and think about it for a second, and then I type it, but then I will tag the key surgical influencers. So I would have John Alverdi, head of surgery at University of Chicago, Chris Ellison, head of surgery at Ohio State University, Ben Nwome. I know who personally know me, so there's a trust, and I know there's a high probability they're going to retweet that tweet because it's relevant. Like, oh my gosh, look what Debbie sent us, and yeah, I don't read this journal, and oh my goodness, this is relevant to me. And that's how I target a tweet. So I have lists of surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, they all just read their own specialty. Cardiac surgeons. So when I see articles relevant to a critical care physician, the president of the Critical Care Society is on Twitter, I'm just tweeting it right to him or her. And I know he or she will disseminate that throughout. So it's really a very powerful way, but I definitely have a strategy. I'm part of the Society of Infectious Disease, Society of Infectious Disease Pharmacists, and I know they have power tweeters that are responsible, and every day they're on it. So if I tweet something with SIDP Pharm in it, I know it's going to go out to all infectious disease pharmacists, and that's the audience I'm trying to meet. I know who in South Africa are the power tweeters. So knowing your audience helps you understand how to disseminate your message rapidly.
So that's for someone who is telling a story. So you and I are tweeters.
Right.
But the reciprocal to that is, wow, so I'm going to follow you, or I'm going to watch what you're saying, or I'm going to follow that hashtag.
Yep.
So before we get into hashtags, I use Twitter analytics a little bit. I'll go into the analytics and I'll actually look at my tweets.
Yep.
And I'll see which ones get a lot of hits. And I'll get, 10,000, 30, 40, 50,000 impressions on some of these. And what I do is if I think it's catching on, I'll just cut and paste it and retweet it again.
Yep.
Because I think people think they say it once and it's enough, and that's not true.
Right.
That you don't want to be obnoxious and overdo it.
Right.
But I think that
But you have to also
it,
respect that there's so much on Twitter, you can't possibly
completely
see everything, and it's very easy to miss something unless you're obsessed and on it all the time. But if you're looking at it once or twice a day, I can't. So that's actually appropriate. And we found in our study we did that the most retweeted tweets by surgeons in infectious diseases that I sent were the ones that had links to them. So they either have a picture or they're linked to evidence-based medicine articles, because now it's, you can't really say much in the limited character space you have. You can't really educate somebody on an appropriate use of an antibiotic. Here's this new antibiotic and here's what it's used for. It's just not the place to be doing that. There's not enough room to convey enough information to make it useful. So having a link is very key.
Links are key. I mean, but
really
sometimes I do, and usually when I'm at home and I'm at my computer, I'll go to the paper and I'll cut and paste. I'll just screen grab a paragraph.
I take a yellow pen, old-fashioned, right?
And just
I
write
take
on
a
it.
highlighter sometimes and then just take a picture of
because
it.
we underestimate the power of the visual.
Absolutely.
So sometimes I'll even just grab a picture of something to put into my tweet. But
and I have to give our surgeons credit. They're way ahead of they're creative because they work with their hands. They're artists, really, in the OR. And they have, Annals of Surgery now requires a visual abstract because they know people think in terms of pictures. And, reading, that's all we do is read. And so if you can take your abstract, which is, 200 to 300 words, and now summarize it in a visual. And so the editor of Annals of Surgery constantly tweets pictures of summaries of
Yeah, no, that's
It
powerful.
is so brilliant.
Otherwise, sometimes you get like a logo of the journal
Right.
that comes in there,
Yeah,
and
you
it
don't
just
care.
doesn't have
But
any
they
power.
have got, and I'm watching other medical journals realize the power of visual abstracts, and others are. Is it JAMA, which is a very prestigious journal, is starting to require them.
Well,
and where did that start to get disseminated?
Beyond
Twitter.
that, I mean, think about infographics.
Yes, same.
I mean,
Powerful.
we don't. Maybe medical departments should have graphics.
They
experts,
do. You know, when I want to convey something, we have medical illustrators at Ohio State, a whole graphics department. Here's what I'm trying to say, make it pretty and make it visual. And this is targeting patients. So there's a different way you write that versus if I'm targeting other infectious disease doctors.
But a really good bar chart, a really good pie chart that shows, the distribution of a pathogen in a particular disease could be really powerful. The dirty little secret about Klebsiella or something.
Well,
so that's powerful.
The
using
CDC
the visuals.
has infographics galore.
Yeah.
And they do such a great job. I always tell people, go to the CDC. The information is free. You can hang this in your office. While patients are sitting there waiting, they're looking at stuff. So it's a great way to convey information.
So, okay, so let's recap. So the tweet.
Yep.
Right? Write it in a way that's going to get attention.
Yep.
Right? You could use capital letters. What do they say on Twitter? Capital letters is like
shouting.
Well, sometimes it's worth shouting.
Yes.
But recognize that you have to use that judiciously.
Right.
And sometimes asking for a retweet is not the end of the world. Please,
Right.
RT.
Right.
A compelling headline, right? And you know what? I think over time it gets easier. Like right now it sounds very daunting, but we bang out tweets left and right. It's not
And
key
you know what I
information
tell
kind of
people
stuff.
when I got on Twitter and had no followers, I just started following people and looking at how they tweeted and what made me look at your tweet versus not looking at this person's tweet. And you start observing, it's just like style of writing. When you write a medical article and it's your research, how do you title the title of your article? Because that's all people read to go, oh, this is compelling. I want to read this whole article. It's no different.
We call it clickbait.
Yes, exactly.
Boy, and we see
all fall for
so many articles that the clickbait, it's horrible.
Yes, but we fall for it.
70% of videos that are clicked on YouTube are clicked on because of the also watch this on the side.
Oh, really?
So
Wow.
we're seduced
Right.
by that. And I think we have to know that. I mean, when you talk to a patient, use patient-friendly language.
Yes.
When you talk to a clinician, use clinician-friendly language. I want to go back up. I want to back up to the idea of I'm not going to tweet. I'm just going to listen.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm a surgeon, I'm an ID, I'm a nurse, I'm a pharmacist, and I want to use Twitter to listen. How do you do that?
Oh, gosh. And I have many that do that. They don't want to be tweeting, but they'll come up and they're like, oh, Debbie, I love your tweets. I'm like, wow, I'm reaching them. And that's fine. You don't have to be actively tweeting. If you don't want to have a big voice, you don't have to. But I have learned more by who I follow on Twitter than any other vehicle I've used in my career.
Me too.
I mean, because I learned not only medicine, I learned marketing. I mean, let's be honest, we're marketing our knowledge. Like, I'm trying to teach you the best way to do this. If I don't know how to effectively communicate that, I fail. So that's marketing. So, I follow, and that's, you were someone that I didn't know about till my student told me, you need to follow him. It's like, digital health, what's that?
Yeah, sure.
Honestly, it was a learning curve, and I'm like, wow. So, each person brings something different to the table.